A very good morning to all my students. So today we are going to begin with the value education. So this is the index page. We can see total 10 chapters. Out of this we are going to pick up the first lesson, that is importance of thanking others. Okay, this is the first chapter from our book. Now, to make this understand, we have a story. The story of a princess. Yes, it's an interesting story, and we all like the stories of princes so much. Now, let's see what the story says. So, there was a fairy queen who had a daughter. We could see in the picture there was a fairy queen who had a daughter. Though this young princess was a fairy, she had no magical powers like her mother. Though she was a daughter of a fairy, this girl, she did not had any of the magical powers like her mother. We all know princesses, they can make the magics. Okay, she did not had any of the magical powers like her mother. So she was also very tiny and needed help to do even small jobs. She was very tiny, means she was very small, that in her every work she needed the help of the others, even of doing the small work. Next page. The fairy queen and her princess lived in a jungle. Can you see the animals sitting around the girl? So it shows that the fairy queen and the princess, they were living in a jungle. Everyone in the jungle helped the princess, means all the animals living in that jungle, they used to help this princess. The fairy princess was grateful. Grateful means she was thankful to all the animals. Why she was thankful to the animals of the jungle? Because they were helping her daughter in all the work. So she was grateful to all the animals and always thanked them for the little course they did for her. Means they were helping this princess in every small work of hers. So her mother was very grateful and she was very thankful to all the animals of the jungle. She became very popular and friendly. What is popular? She became very famous, that everyone wants to be with her. So this daughter, she became very popular and friendly with the animals and birds that lived in the jungle. She became very friendly with all these animals. We know in jungle all type of animals live, but these animals, they were also helping this girl in doing their work. So she also became so friendly with them. As she grew up, it was time for her to take on the mantle from her mother and become the fairy queen herself. As she was growing older, now it was the time that she also should become a fairy like her mother. But she had to pass a test. To become a fairy, she has to pass a test first to prove to other fairies that she had magical powers. Now first she has to undergo through a test to prove, to show to the other fairies that she also has magical powers. This worried the fairy princess as she did not have any magical powers. Yes, we have already seen that this girl, though she was a daughter of a fairy queen, but she did not had any of the magical powers, and for every small course of hers she has to take help of other animals or the other people. But now this was the time to become her the fairy. So she had to pass a test, and she has to prove to the other fairies that she also has a magical power. So she was little worried. On the day of the test, finally the day arrived when she has to pass a test. On the day of the test, all the animals and birds came to her. All the animals and birds of that jungle, they came to the girl and they said, "Don't worry. We will do whatever it takes to make you pass the test." Means you don't at all worry, we will help you in everything that you have to make to pass this test. The fairies of the jungle came to test her. On that day, the other fairies from the jungle, they came to take test of this princess. Whenever she was asked to do a difficult task, her animal friends quickly did that to prove that the fairy princess had great powers. And whenever they were giving a difficult task to this princess, all the animals, they quickly used to prove that the fairy princess also has great powers. The final test was to create a rainbow in the sky. You must have seen a rainbow of 7 color bands. So that was the final task to pass her, and it was to make or to create a rainbow in the sky. Now all the animals and birds, they started jumping and flying to create a beautiful rainbows, because they were helping this princess to prove her magical powers. So they started jumping and flying to create a beautiful rainbow. The fairy princess thus passed the test. With the help of these birds and animals of the jungle, this princess, she was able to pass the test, and she thanked all the animals and birds for making her the fairy queen. Though she did not had the magical powers like her mother, but with the help of her friends from the jungle, that is animals and birds, she could pass the test and she could become the fairy finally. So always we must be thankful to the people, those who plays important role in our life. We always have to thank them. Whatever the people does in our life, we should be always grateful and thankful to them, and we must always learn to help others in their work also. I hope you liked the story and you understood it. So based on this, we have one question asked at the end of page number 2. What is that? Have you ever helped someone without being asked to? Did you understand the question? That did you help someone without being asked to? Did the person thank you for that? We have to write 3 things for that. That did the person thank you for that? So this is the first chapter from our lesson. The remaining part of the lesson will be discussed in the next week. Okay, have a nice day. Bye. Take care, children.